Hi, everybody. Hope your day's doing good. Mine's pretty good. I think I got just so sick from the smell of pork, but I had been out in the heat too, which doesn't really bother me too much anymore, but that could have been something to do with it working. Okay, I just want to say real quick today, excuse my shaking. I'm going to try and get stable here. Um, okay, the pact between Satan and the Native Americans was they did so much sacrificing and he would keep them safe as their God. Well, he's a liar, and of course, he's not going to do that. His ulterior motive is the darker your skin, the more dead you are, and this is why. He was born dark, and through the ages now, the Illuminati had become desirable with the blonde hair, blue eyes. That's breeding the pigment out of the skin to make him as light and his bloodline as light as possible. Um, with Meghan Markle in there now, this is well, we'll call it the seventh generation, but it goes far deeper. But it's an easy explanation. We'll call it the seventh generation. Goes too far and reverts. So either way they do it, it wouldn't matter because the blood and the genetics would revert back to that with any child that is born of that bloodline right now. So what I'm telling you is the truth. He used to be black and chased around all the natives through the centuries and he became yellow. He went over to the east. Then he went up by Norway and then migrated through Europe, and then they ended up, well, it all started in Africa. Then there was some parts of that blood, so it didn't diminish entirely because he could move amongst different areas through different people, just like Christ can. Um, Okay, so the bloodline went to South America, it went to North America, and Middle America. And that's what they call the giants that would slay people and eat people. That is not what it was. What it was is rape people and impregnate them and kidnap them and take them as not just slaves but or sex slaves, but actually to breed uh, the lighter skin. So then it moved on to taking a lot of pigment out of the people in the Americans. And that bloodline became most desirable at the time. And that's why the slaughter of most of the Native Americans because they wouldn't behave because they were too wild. Um, and the same happened in Africa. And uh, a lot of Africans were taken to South America at that time too, way back when, and their light blood actually became like Native American, a native that moved up and down the east coast of North and South America, all the way up into Canada, and back down, migrating like the caribou would, like when it's warm and go fishing, and then they were chased inland, and that's when they started going west, and the Indians, and the same with the South. And but that's kind of a brief way to explain it. I'm just telling everybody, whether you want to believe me or not, this is the genetics that I know about and what I read, and it will come out. The truth is out there, and little by little, there's people, just like in the government, there's people in there doing things and getting things out to people little by little. And oh boy, I look terrible. I was gonna take a shower and then I thought, well, I'll be too tired to say anything, and I just felt like I had to say something as soon as I could. So, um, excuse my ratty appearance, like I don't give a shit. I do this. It's been on my mind all morning how to approach this and tell my families out there, and white people aren't safe either because your genetic code may be darker than what you realize in that seventh generation, and you could produce somebody darker of skin. And nobody's really safe. I'm just telling you, I love everybody and I want you to be safe. And in the churches, Christians or Native Americans with your rituals, don't get me wrong, there's some like glorious, honoring, beautiful. Um, I was honored at a powwow. I mean, there was nothing more incredible in my whole becoming a woman at 12 and being named and Kiko Pasheta. And that was really incredible for me. And that was on, let's see, Upper Leech Lake. It was in Cass County. And, uh, well, anyway, it was quite the day. It scared me and nerved me and glorified me all at the same time. It was a freaky experience I'll never forget because I always felt like I was. I used to make a cave and crawl in a hole and go take a nap before I could run away. And then I started running away at 5, but I'd get tired and fall asleep, and then like people didn't even know I had been gone. And it's like so much for trying to get some attention, I guess, right? So, but yeah, it's funny, I think. So that's always kind of been my personality out and about anyway. So I just want you to know that if there's something like, I think it's Megway, if I'm not mistaken the term, um, for a Ojibwe. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm misquoting. Um, Native language isn't my area because for my work for this, I had to concentrate on the European languages and the Middle Eastern languages specifically. And well, and a lot of Native American is incorporated in the English that I had to use to translate everything, which was very interesting because your story and how he's going to betray you is in the dictionary. If you look at the very last definitions of everything and get the oldest, get a Merriam Webster 1921 if you can. It's the first edition, or go look at it in the library. Look up, I don't know how deep they've hidden things, but look up like God and look up like indigenous in those words. Let me think of another one. Food, sacrifice, and the word whatever means no food. So when somebody goes whatever, that's like the dirtiest thing you can say, and I will sometimes too because I definitely know the meaning, and the people that wrote our language for us exactly what they mean by it. So let me think if I can think of anything else on that. Okay, fact of the matter is, bred themselves light, pigment all out of them. But what they did in the meantime was make themselves weaker. Um, uh, no offense to blue eyes, my oldest son is got the most beautiful blue eyes too. I love blue eyes, love green eyes. I think green might be my, like that startling. I don't know. It's a hard. Everybody's got such pretty eyes. So Uh, yeah, it's hard to decide, isn't it? You see somebody's eyes and it's like, whoa. Yeah, so that's cool anyway. That's always cool. But yeah, bred themselves like to hide from God, to hide from Christ when Christ comes back because um so that's where you get the dark turns to light and the light becomes dark because Christ is coming back not in a good mood, and that's dark. And the darkness that became light, he's light skinned but dark inside and appears to be light in every manner but not. So let me think, anything else on this? Basically, Satan doesn't get anybody's soul. it's more a scare tactic with the preachers and everybody, but the people that are trying to warn you that you could lose your soul, that part is very real in that extreme. That's your decision whether you actually want to move on. But say you went to school and it was really, really hard, and my school's been really, really hard. But I know when I'm done with school, I don't ever have to go to school again unless I choose to. And I do choose to, because what our Father has to teach us is incredible. This is just the tip of the iceberg to learn what it takes out of a person like a mom, what it takes out of that mom to produce that child, and the father. They're connected, or they should be, but they usually aren't. But what it the physical ramifications of giving of yourself, and that in God's mind and His soul with us, when we take and take and take and don't have a thought of that. And that's where He's at with this, because Satan got in there and said, well, I'm going to protect you. Just pray to me, and I am of God because I ate of that fruit. No, he entirely does not know the whole situation. You know, nobody ever would, because God's like, so it's like a parent saying, I'm going to know as much as my mom knows when I'm 5, just because you're smart. Well, you may know different things, but you're not going to know her things necessarily. So that's how He makes us. He makes us with our different things, but we won't necessarily know His things because that's Him. It doesn't make us all entirely like Him, because He made us different. To clean the dirty out of us is what's going on right here. To make us smart enough, like, for instance, if somebody spits on the sidewalk, here, would we want to be spitting on a sidewalk of gold? And then it would tarnish it and etch it. And it's the things that are not allowed in our Father's house that we're learning not to do here. It's about the bottom line. So, peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, my brothers and sisters all over the world. I love you. I really do. Have a good night, everybody.